There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
A critical component to any successful shop is the upkeep of the bay and the performance of the technicians and fabricators that run them. On this roundtable, we invite some of the top masters of fab to discuss the latest challenges and trends that impact the modern 12-volt install bay. This is the Car Audio Roundtable presented by SiriusXM, all about install bay and fabrication, and sponsored by 5-Axis Innovations, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody? And thanks for tuning in to another CMA Roundtable, where we invite retailers, installers, fabricators, and industry specialists to come in and convene on a simple topic or theme and discuss. We've got great questions lined up. And on that note, I want to give a quick shout out to our good friend Dave McKinnon, editor-in-chief of the online car audio magazine known as Best Car Audio, for helping us collaborate and create some of the questions for tonight's roundtable. Thank you, Dave. We have a great group of guests tonight, some of them the very best fabricators that our country has to offer from coast to coast. And we're very happy and delighted to be able to have them on with us tonight, because what is the roundtable about? The roundtable is about discussion, conversation, and to find out what are the latest trends, what are the latest important things that are on these fabricators' mind. And we'll do our best to extract the information from them and hopefully have a great show, which I know we will. All right. On that note, let's take this time and get all our guests onto the screen. A quick, simple introduction, as most of you guys already know who they are, but of course they deserve a little bit of an intro, and so we can get this roundtable on the go. All right, so these are our esteemed guests for this evening's discussion and conversation. Starting in the top, we've got Marty Adamschuk representing Andre's Electronic Experts out in BC. I know he's out in the boonies somewhere, but he's made the time to join us remotely. Thank you, Marty, for making that time. We also have Bryce Lewis in the top right corner out of Last Resort Fabrication in Alberta. Thank you, Bryce, for joining us. Bottom left, a return to the show. It's been on a few times now. Roop Gossel from the Inc. Rides crew out in British Columbia as well. Newcomer to CMA. Thank you for making the time, Mr. Dewey J. from Mobile Solutions of Calgary joining us. Thank you for making the time tonight, Dewey. And last but not least, might I say, the senior of the group, the elder, the visionary, the one that everybody knows about. And we're so lucky to have him, because literally the man doesn't have enough hours in a day to do what he loves to do, but he made the time tonight. Mr. Sean Bashara from 613 Auto Designs out of Ontario. Sean, thanks for joining us this evening. Guys, we've got some great questions that we've kind of discussed together in the preamble. We're going to go through every question. Everybody's going to have an opportunity to comment on the question. And what we're going to do a little bit different this time is, because you guys are such unique, characters and individuals within our industry, we're going to take the time to get to know you one-on-one a little bit as well. So we're going to start this evening with getting to know Marty Adamschuk. Now, Marty, some of the best installers do simple tasks with amazing precision to deliver exceptional performance to their clients. What are some of the small things that you do that help improve the way an audio system sounds when it's in your hands?
There are a couple things that we do pretty much on vehicles. We're big fans of sound deadening and treating the vehicle to eliminate any kind of unwanted noise. I work pretty closely with the sales staff, so we always go out and have a look at the vehicle, and you make sure we're using the right equipment and designing it the way the customers want it. And then usually the final stage of tuning, we'll get the customer to come and sit in the vehicle with us and kind of tweak it to how they like it. Because everybody, likes a little bit different. So you like a little bit more treble, a little bit more bass. Like we kind of tailor to what they want.
Right. So the final, I guess I've heard the term salt and pepper used, is obviously the final touch for that full experience. Now, Marty,
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention this next question. And,
Yeah, you kind of put me on the spot.
well, I will. And this one's going to be even, you're going to blush if you were on camera. So,
Yeah.
dude, you won the Installer of the Year, man. Like, I think everybody knows that. I think everybody's had the opportunity to say congratulations. And in the eyes of the voters, what is it about your special skill set or creativity that you think, made you pull it off? In your humble opinion. I know you don't like talking about this, so that's why I know. But I want to hear, like, what do you think it is?
Yeah, I mean, you know me. You've known me for quite a few years now. I mean, I'm not one to sit there and say that I'm better than anybody or I'm the best or anything like that. I think this year I refocused my video, and I made the video more so about my personally and who I am in the industry and how I interact with everybody else in the industry as a whole. I think I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without the the guidance and help of a lot of people within our industry. I mean, guys like Tim Bailey, who's he's always pushing me, and Chris McNulty, who actually went up and accepted my award for me in Vegas. Guys like Dean Bayette, on doing video editing and right there to help me. And he actually gave me a call at work, and we talked for a couple hours, and he kind of helped me through it. And of course, guys like like this roundtable, the CMA, getting us out there, and the Canadian guys out there helped with you and Frank.
I mean, I don't know how much of a part we played, but I'll take it. Thank you. Okay, that's great. We got to know Marty, and I want to give you every opportunity to say those thanks to who you need to say thanks to. Let's get on to business. First question of the evening. We'll start with you, Marty, while we have you on first. How does the store that you currently work for market your custom fabrication services?
We do a lot on social media. So pretty much every big build that I do, we post a lot of pictures. We kind of target it. Watching a lot, and with all the hashtags and that, and it kind of targets a certain audience. So if it's a Camaro that we've worked on, I'll figure out it has something to do with a Camaro, and it'll hit that target audience. And then we're a pretty small town where I live in. It's pretty much word of mouth. Anyone that's had work done has told their friends. Pretty small community here.
Okay. Let's go to Bryce on this one. Different part of the country, over in Alberta. How do you? I mean, I was going to say the store you work at. Obviously, it's your own store. But at Last Resort Fab, what is their method for marketing these custom fabrication services that you offer?
Well, yeah, we rely on social media. We have a bunch of social media to post here, but we've been trying to play catch up right now. So that it can help act as a throttle for the store too. When you're super busy, you can tone back on the social media, and that can help kind of get some control. Because sometimes if you post some pretty amazing pictures, then all of a sudden your inbox will be full in the morning, and it can suck a lot of time for small shops like us. I think that our philosophy, if you build it, they will come. So our philosophy of going over the top, just it's self-fulfilling. Like if you keep building bigger and better, then the work just follows. Because if you're innovative and you're not copying, but you're actually introducing new techniques or new trends, then the work will just follow. So I think that's what we're doing it better.
Build it and they will come. Let's go to Roop over at Ink Rides. What are you doing to market or promote the custom fabrication services that really set you apart in your area?
A lot of what we do is just word of mouth, Instagram, asking our clients, if you're happy with your work, tell your friends and family. Someone buys a new car, you tell them, where they can take it. Dealership sending us work. And then we do a little bit of advertising, but not much. And just hand-picking what car shows we go to show our cars at. A lot of it's on the customer, word of mouth. And that's what it's been like for the 15 years I've almost been open now.
So you still are actively participating at select car gatherings, car shows, etc.
Some car shows, I won't do all of them. It takes up a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to just show up and make it look like we set up a booth overnight. We take a lot of time to set up our booth, so we make sure the shows we're going to are worthwhile.
So if you're going to do one, you're all in on it. But maybe you're not doing 20.
You're doing coming up this weekend, which is a nice setup. And all it's just exotic car show. So all the cars, all the exotic dealers.
Very targeted.
Yeah.
Okay. How about over at Mobile Solutions of Calgary? I mean, what do they do to let everybody know about the custom fabrication that you and the team provide, do we?
Oh, we actually don't market this area too much. Most of our fab work or custom work is hidden behind panels, and it can be easily removed and put back to stock. A lot of our clientele, they actually trade in their cars in like 1 season, 2 season. You know, stuff needs to come right back out without any damages. And the vehicles that come here, you know, we cannot modify, period.
Yeah, so I think for you, I might have changed the wording of custom fabrication to stealth OEM style replacement work. How do you market that?
It looks harder than what you think.
I don't even know how you can even
I'd rather
to
change everything out. Yeah. It's a lot easier.
You get a brand new McLaren roll up, and they're like, "You want me to change what on this?" Sean, how about you? I mean, I can almost know what the answer is already, but I want to ask you, give you the opportunity. How do you market your custom fabrication services to customers?
We don't at all. I have my personal Facebook page. We don't have a website. We don't have a shop phone. We don't give out our address. We have an elite clientele that we've been catering to for 20, 25 years. I don't really take a lot of new customers. I have to be interested in the customer or in the job. But as far as we don't do a lot of car audio that much anymore. We do a lot of marine right now.
Sure.
But really systems. And it's all groups of people that I'll do a job for one guy kind of thing. And then if his buddy has if he has a budget that I think is okay, then we'll go ahead and do that. But we're normally booked out a couple of years in advance.
Well, I got to say, and I kind of knew going into asking these questions to this group of guys that marketing is probably not the main reason why you guys are getting the jobs that you are. It's because of the quality of the work that you guys do. And when you do that type of quality of work, the referrals, the word of mouth, that's going to come naturally. Obviously, someone like Sean, who's been doing this for an extended amount of time, he said it himself, elite clientele, select clientele, doesn't really need to go outside of that circle for business. In fact, you're probably booked out a couple of months. I'm sure you are. And that's the key. I think the takeaway here is if you do the work and you present yourself with a professional method, attitude, and skill set, that work is there for you to take. But first, make sure your work is legit. I think that's what these installers here have kind of demonstrated. Sean, I'm going to stay with you. Let's get to know Sean Bashar a little bit. You know, your business approach and clientele, like you said, are unique to this group, and you do what you want, how you want, when you want, kind of on your own schedule, your own timeline. And the clients love it.
It's also the relationship you have with these customers too, right? When you're doing these bigger jobs, you really get to know them. You get to know their families, their wives, or their kids, that kind of. And I think that's why I've had most of my customers most of them are 40s, 50s, and even 60s kind of thing. It's a relationship that you have with them that they put a lot of trust in, kind of thing. Though once you give them too much leverage, that's a lot of time where the installs are going to go bad. So you have to stay in control of that. Give them no more than 3 options on something, and go from there.
Talk to us a little bit about what I want to really know is how do you qualify? How do you qualify your customer, and what's the design process with said customer?
When we're doing something, a lot of time we'll have 4 or 5 cars in the shop at one time, and then there's always a couple that are really near completion. We'll take some things off that. Don't forget, we're not doing like normal cars. Like normally it's going to start off with like a full interior with audio and then rewiring the whole thing, or a marine system where most of the marine systems we're doing now are about 7,000 watts. So
7,000 watts on a boat. Yes, sir.
Yeah. We're doing. We just finished another one. I have another one booked, and I just finished up a sale for another one, and that one is getting. I think it's getting 5 or 6 ARC audio amplifiers, and we're doing like this massive, almost like a wall display of the amplifiers downstairs. And it's a lot of power, a lot of batteries. But what's happened is these guys have had really big systems in the free air subwoofers, and so the one I just sold, he had these great big 12 or 13-inch free air subwoofers. And it was just shaking his boat apart. It didn't sound very good. So then we redesigned the whole thing, and now we're building a subwoofer enclosure that's really that's gonna hammer.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I seen on your Facebook, like you said, your personal page, and I remember us talking about this maybe a year ago. You've added, dedicated upholstery services to 613, right? How have you used this to deliver unique, audio installations that go beyond just seating upgrades?
It really makes a big difference, because a lot of time you put like just a simple French, that adds a lot of dimension to the panel itself. So it's, when you're designing it, you're always thinking about where that is, because your French seam is a real highlight, especially on a door panel kind of thing. So you're always that's worked into the design of it as well. And even when we're doing it, we'll give customers 5 or 6 rolls of thread to take home, kind of thing, or we'll make them we'll stitch up some French seams on the leather that they choose. And a lot of time we get the wives involved with it, because wives, they feel that they have a better idea as far as color combinations than guys do, and it's nice to get them involved with it too.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. All right, here we go with the second question of the night. Sean, we'll stick with you. What is your latest favorite exotic material that you've been adding to be part of your installations?
I hooked up with a company in BC called Hides Leather, and we buy all of our leather off them because they actually have manufacturer match leather. So we'll use Lamborghini leather, a lot of Bentley leather in our installs, and it's a super high end leather, and it's different than most of the stuff you get, and it feels different. It's really good when the car's done.
The smell, beautiful. Dewey, let's go to you with the same question. What is your recent, favorite new exotic material that you've been incorporating into your installs?
I use a lot of aluminum for amp mounts and speaker mounts and brackets, but I don't really have a favorite. But usually we try to match whatever's in the vehicle, and then we try our best to keep it looking stock.
So, like, you try to match the material, even not just the look in the
yes.
field,
So whatever material they have there, we would match it.
Give me some ideas of range of material that you are on a daily for you. What would you be running through?
Every day we use aluminum, not every day, but sometimes hide, and then lots of acrylics and different colored plastics.
Okay, very cool. How about you, Rup? I'm interested to hear what you have to say, because I've seen your double design, and I have a feeling I know what you're going to say is your favorite material.
We like using a lot of carbon, but I wouldn't say that's new. It's been using it for a while. The biggest thing is not just concentrating on one material, it's layering all your different materials, your Alcantara, your leathers, acrylic, carbon, and again, matching what it is vehicle. You're doing a full custom system, but you want to make it look like, Lamborghini sent the car out like this. It matches everything in there. It looks back to you. But
are you doing both gloss carbon as well as dry, like matte carbon as well?
Yeah, depends what's in the car already.
Oh, to match the car, right? Just like what Dewey said.
I still understand why manufacturers do that. It's actually a pet peeve of mine when you get a car. It's got dry on the outside and wet on the inside. Like, no, keep it all the same.
Very nice.
But yeah, whatever.
How about like Kevlar? Do you play with that as well while you're there?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Very cool. All right. Let's talk to Bryce. Bryce, you're kind of known to be in a lot of your designs. I'm curious to see what kind of material that you've been playing with about.
Well, like I've been using carbon for for 12 or 13 years now. And I like using carbon because it's got great depth, and we get in a lot of the exotic carbons now, like the jeweler grade carbons with anodized thread. We're doing one right now with 24 karat gold plated, gold woven into the carbon. And then to match, we did some forged carbon ins with 24 karat gold leaf, kind of pressed into the forged carbon to contrast, because the gold woven thread in the carbon is quite bright. So we wanted to kind of bring it back by having the forged carbon, which is quite like, it has a lot of depth, but it sucks a lot of light. It's very 3D, but it's very black, more so than normal carbon. It doesn't have as many grays in it, so we kind of suck back some of the brightness of the gold. But yeah, like I said before, I'm out of science. I like to analyze things. So if I'm building a speaker mount, then we have a DATS and RTA, and I like to experiment and test, isolate vibrations from panels using proper high density foams and stuff on my mounts. And I have a rule that we never put hard on hard or soft on soft. It's, you made a hard surface with a soft surface to help with isolation without sucking too much sound out. Mm-hmm. And glow plastic, I've done a lot of this, they call it Sign White, and it's awesome product because we did a honeycomb box for another shop last summer, and it turned out awesome. And the nice thing about the glow plastic is you can get these really great ominous neon-like colors of your RGB without any hot spots. And I really like the effect of that, and I like to play around with different lighting effects. But that glow plastic's the newer one that we've been playing a lot with, because it creates such an ominous glow. The customer requested that the install look like like it came from Tron the movie. And if you've seen pictures of that box, it definitely does have that ominous glow, especially in like low light or medium light. It's sort of like, it's very neon like, it's got that.
So the takeaway here, what I did not expect, gold is a material. So yeah, look, where I said gold and glow plastic. Interesting. Let's circle back on that one. Marty, how about you?
Well, I'm not really in the market here for a lot of exotic materials. Most of what we see out here, going to be your Dodge and Ford pickup trucks. Exotic vehicles like Roop and Dewey have out there. So it's just basically a lot of vinyls and suedes and stuff like that. A lot of lighting.
Okay, can I ask? Has anybody else heard of glow? Was it glow plastic?
Yeah, it's a milky white polycarbonate they use for making signs for storefronts. It's called Sign White, or
Sign White.
Yeah. It depends on the 12-volt side. Lots of guys call it glow plastic, and then in the sign business, or you're buying your plastics from a wholesale, they'll refer to it as Sign White. But
Sean, what's your experience with this material?
We do that when we do. Let's say we're doing like a lasered out small acrylic logo. We'll use it's like almost like a translucent plastic, and we'll bond the clear acrylic onto the white plastic, and then put the LEDs underneath it. And it makes everything kind of uniform and same type thing.
All right, very cool. Well, I learned something there. Roop, let's circle back to you. Let's get to know you a little bit. Ink rides, I think it's not a secret. I mean, I think every car we featured from you is an exotic vehicle. Is there anything unique in your sales or system design process that continues to attract these clients, in your opinion?
So when a customer calls or gets recommended to us, I ask them a few questions over the phone. Obviously, what kind of car, what they're looking for, expectations. And then we'll come in from what shop. So when the customer comes in, I set aside an hour, go stations are, go through the product, go through the car. It's a full one-on-one, not walking into a retail store waiting in line to find someone to help you, right? So I feel like that's huge dealing with our clientele.
So it's a much more a VIP, much more bespoke kind of experience. You're making the time, you're making sure you're spending at least an hour, and in that hour, you're going to go through all the motions.
Not only getting to know the car, getting to know the client, right? What they've had done before, if they haven't been by us, if it's been by another shop, and why they haven't gone back there, and why they've come to me, right?
Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, many consumers don't know that radar detector or laser defense or whatever you want to call it, you know, those systems are an incredible opportunity for custom fabrication business. Can you tell us about some of the solutions you offer these clients and what you think about this business that some may not really have taken advantage of yet?
We do a lot of radar jamming. And the biggest thing we do is we won't just slap them on. We book 3 days to do a full radar jammer, and everything gets hidden behind IR acrylic, so it just looks like a factory parking sensor.
To be clear, you're talking about custom install. You're not talking about the dash mount thing. You're talking about the full custom install.
The dash mount. For the guy that asked for it, that's got a couple cars that wants to go back and forth. Sure, I'll order them one in. I don't keep stock. I recommend full jammer with radar, and yeah, then fully hidden.
Where does the fabrication part come in? That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of.
So the custom mounts in the front on the bumper, where you have it hidden by IR acrylic, mounted to the vehicle, making it look like you can't even see it. Like most of the time, the customers will come in and they don't know. They know their car and they don't know what's been added. And then we'll take the LEDs that inform you of what's being jammed. We'll hide those interior turn signals. So their turn signals still work normal as green. If their radar jammer goes off, they turn blue. So fully factory. Anybody to look into the car would not know anything.
And this is a big business for you.
Yeah, we do. I think minimum 3 a month.
Very good. Those are 3-day jobs each, which makes it pretty interesting. All right, Roop, let's go to our third official question of this evening. How do you show your clients what you intend to build for them before building it for them? Like, what is the process? What is your trick to kind of getting them to imagine or understand what's in your head before they spend money?
Once I've got to know the client and see what they're expecting, we'll go through a couple ideas. My drawings aren't the greatest, but I'll sketch it out on paper. And yeah, I really like to build as I'm going along. If I come up with ideas, so really what I want to know from the customer, how much room they want left, what they don't want, and what their expectations are at the end. And then literally I go at it and I build as I go. But I'll give them a rough sketch of, yeah, this is sort of what you're going to be looking at. And then I don't allow the customer to see the car until it's done.
Oh.
Some customers don't like that too much. But you know what? For me, my happiness in this is seeing the customer's reaction when I do unveil a car. So, yeah.
Interesting. No wrong answers here. Let's go to Bryce. Same question, of course. How do you show your clients what you intend to build for them?
Well, with us adding a laser and getting better at the software, we've been using the CAD. It's been a very useful tool. A lot of times, I was fortunate enough to take some design classes, so I was able to learn proportions and Da Vinci's law of thirds and stuff. And lots of customers don't understand that, and they'll say, "Oh, I want a 1-inch logo on the front of my box," and you're like, "No, you don't want a 1-inch logo. You want a 7-inch logo because it's proportionate, right?" So it allows us to lay it out and show them in the actual dimensions of things, and then we scan. Like we take the opportunity to scan the subwoofer that they're intending on using, or the speaker, and we will take a photograph, and using Corel we can incorporate our DXF files and put them over top of the actual photograph of the door panel, and give them an idea of size and proportion, and kind of gives them an idea of what lines are going to be conflicting, what we have to change. And before we start cutting panels, it's a good way to get a feel of what's going on. So it's a very useful tool.
I'm interested. Do you let the client see halfway, or you like group and wait till the end?
I have always been the odd man out. I know a million installers I've worked with, if a customer ever walked in the back, they practically threw a wrench at the guy. And I'm always been the opposite. I don't mind the customers, watching me work. I have nothing to hide. If I have a really paranoid customer, I'll give them the option that they can have photographs throughout. We very often take photographs of our electrical work. We do a lot of starter and alarm, and a lot of high-end alarms. We're getting a good reputation for that work in our area, And so I show how invisible my work is, and I kind of show, especially if there's an existing system that's full of butt connectors and stuff. I love taking those before and afters. Those are my favorite. So yeah, I have an open door policy. I know it depends on the shop. It depends on the installer and what they're comfortable with. But it is a double-edged sword. You can get some good rapport with the customer being open like that, but at the same time, some customer, no one likes to watch the cow get butchered, right? They just want to eat the steak. And some guys don't like watching that door panel get chopped up, right?
Yeah.
So
fair enough. Okay, interesting. Very contrasting to styles. Marty, how about you? What is your method?
We take a lot of pictures of all the work that we do, and so on my laptop, I've got folders of a variety of different vehicles, and we can, if somebody comes in with the same vehicle, like a similar vehicle, we can show them what we've done in there and what we can do. I've also I've just kind of mocked up some face plates for sub boxes, materials, and those are up front. I've gone to the auto wreckers there and picked up some scrap A-pillars, and then just kind of, I'll grab two, I'll build up one, and it'll have I'll put up like a 3 meter in there, and then so they can look at it and touch it. I remember I got class with I was talking to Michael Willers ago, and he was saying if they have something tangible that they can hold, they're more willing to spend the money on it and just let you go ahead.
Interesting. Very interesting. 3 very different answers. Let's continue this. Sean, I'd love to see what happens at 6:13 when a customer wants to envision what they're about to spend money on. What is the process?
Right now we're done at Marina. So, and again, most of the customers I do for big systems pretty much 100% of the work around here. So everybody has seen a boat that I've done or been on a bunch of boats. And when the boats all tie off, they see who's got the loudest stereo and that kind of thing. So it's, it's, you get a phone call, whatever, and it's like, come on down to the marina. Or if we're at the marina, guys like, hey, can you come to have a look at my boat? Kind of thing. It's like, well, what are you looking to do? And we're the hard thing is we're always really booked out. So we're going to try and see if we can fit them in. Most of the time it'll be for the following year.
All right. So basically you're building the system based on what they've already seen your work. Now, do they say, I want exactly like them, or do they want, I want better? Was it always better?
Louder. That's why we are where we are today, because we started, like, we were using the conventional brands, the marine stuff, and we've since kind of exhausted, the freer subwoofers in a boat kind of thing, where now guys are running like 415s in a boat.
In an enclosure, in a proper enclosure.
And an enclosure, yeah, for sure. And they just keep wanting more. And there's always one guy that's the loudest. Like last year, I built that boat with the motorized panels that came out. And we're actually using a lot of PA style equipment in boats now because it projects really, 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 really loud, which I know a lot of people don't like. But in that application, what you're actually doing, it's more like these boats.
They want to be the party in the cove. They want to be the party boat.
That's right.
In the cove.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So sound quality kind of really goes out the window when you're building. They do sound as good as we possibly can, but they are extremely, extremely loud and extremely durable too.
Of course, for the conditions. All right, Dewey. Again, from crazy, ridiculous party blasting boats to the, I don't want to see anything, don't show me anything, I don't even want to know it's there, but I'll spend a lot of money on it situation. How do you walk a customer through the process?
We usually use past install pictures. Like the odds are we already done that vehicle before, and our motto is like cookie cutter high end, so it has to be repeatable whatever we do. So if the same vehicle comes in tomorrow, it gets the same package, the same tune, the same equipment, we know the outcome because we already done it. Or if it's a new vehicle, I would probably draw it up on VCarve or Corel.
Really? So you do the draw thing as well. So yeah. Are you at a point when you talk about repeatability and predictable results? Are you
cookie
now
cutter high end?
Are you fabricating certain templates or certain doodads that help you repeat that over and over?
No, it's just files on the computer.
Oh, just files.
Printed
Okay.
or CNC.
I was wondering about like bracketry or anything of that nature, or adapters, if you're doing the same vehicle.
Any template we throw away when used. We'll just cut a new one next time.
Very, very interesting. Okay. I mean, totally different answers all around the board. Like a different shopping experience depending on who I go to. You know, I've got the artiste, which I think is Roop, and then I've got like, you know, I feel like what Marty was talking about. It's like when I'm, you know, want to move into a new condo that hasn't been built yet, they're going to walk you through the trim, the paint, you know, and everything else, and get to select everything because he's got the mock-ups. And then, you know, with Dewey, it's just like, dude, I don't want anything, just make it happen, and I make sure I can return this car, right? And then with Sean, well, basically it's just balls to the wall, make it louder than that guy, and here's the money, take it now. So very, very different. And of course with Bryce, very precise engineering, you know, down to the millimeter angles, everything. Here it is. This is exactly what you're getting. All the, you know, again, brilliant, totally different experiences. Let's go to Bryce. Let's get to know Bryce a little bit. Bryce, you know, you mentioned it just earlier, CNC machines, you talk about laser. How do you think access to equipment like this has improved the products that fabricators can deliver to their customers?
Well, like, you know, it's kind of like Dewey said, it's repeatability. You know, for us, it's really nice to be able to get a vehicle locked down. We have an enclosure that works. We track everything. We use a DATS and a RTA and SPL meter whenever we're doing closures, and then we kind of work it a little bit each time till we get to that point where we're not going to improve. And a lot to do with, you know, for us, a lot of our customers are pickup truck customers, like very, very high end pickup trucks, like, you know, exotic pickup trucks, if you will. So
exotic pickup trucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, no, I mean, the one in the shop right now is like, I would say probably a $300,000-$400,000 build when it's done. So
wow. Yeah, that's exotic.
And that's a brand new truck. There was no body work involved in that one. So that's, you know, and so it's important to be repeatable, but also, you know, I think all of us on this panel, we all have our own style. And, you know, mine was very much shaped by, you know, the sort of the mech anime in the 80s and 90s, you know, Robotech and stuff like that.
Robotech, Macross, yep.
The lines in the armor and stuff. I to this day, I still love all those lines that those guys had, and that reflects in my work. And you see a lot of that trace out, and my customers come for that sort of style, and within reason. I mean, I will bend, I will change, depending on the customer. Like, you know, the BMW we're doing with the gold carbon, he's very much kind of more old school, where he likes this kind of the more swoopy, more molded, kind of not volcano style, but close to it. And, you know, I will conform to the customer, but I'll put my own salt and pepper on it. But, you know, I guess, yeah, it's really important to just, you know, have that sort of dynamic with the customer and make it all work. So,
you know, earlier you had also mentioned how you're proud to show, you know, what's under, especially the cabling, right? The wiring. Yeah. So tidy, safe, secure wiring, obviously crucial to any, especially high-end audio upgrade. What do you do in the design stages of big installs to manage wiring ahead of time?
Well, actually, you know, it's one thing I want to bring up is I'm building a lot of digital tools. I'm building a lot of tools in Corel that are rulers, spaces, sort of like little things that help me really quickly dial in measurements and repeat the sort of the amp rack style that we've kind of honed in the last 2 years. I've really been, it's been really important for us to have our serviceable amp rack. And what I tell my customers is that's really important, that if I closed up shop and I went down to work in the States, that my customers would never be high and dry, that an amp rack, we use OEM Molex connectors for all our speaker wires. So when we're running active systems, if a customer needs to remove the amp rack, it's a matter of a few power wires and a Molex connector, and it just comes out, and they don't have to touch any of the wires. So there's no opportunity to put a woofer wire on a tweeter spot. You know, everything's cut to length, and it's that way. It's, I know for sure that the customer, if he moves away or I move away, that vehicle is always going to be serviceable, just like the OEM does. Where, you know, there's, you know, and I hope that one day our amplifiers start coming with a Molex style connector that we can utilize, because I think the screw terminal has lived its day, and I'd like to see it go away, because it's honestly it's a messy connection. So, but
very good. Thank you for sharing that insight. Let's get into question number 4 of this evening. Again, sticking with you, Bryce, what cues do you use from the vehicle to make what you install blend in with the interior? Or are you fabricating components to highlight the products?
You know, I very much do believe in the OEM plus kind of design style, where we're showing off the product a little bit more. We're showing that we're incorporating logos. So, like for example, Dodge Ram is one of the vehicles that we do a lot of, and then so when we're doing Dodge Ram, they always have the Infinity logo on the sail panel, and we'll remove that and laser out a new logo, and we usually light it up. You know, I am a little bit showier than I'm not. I like OEM, but I like to be a little bit showy. You know, it's just I like to have fun with it. So, you know, we like to incorporate those little touches, removing old like Alpine or Infinity logos from the system, and making glowing logos that are, you know, show off the brands that they really love. It makes it look like it came from the factory like that. And I would say that I like it to look like a concept car. Like it's a little flashier than a production car, but it's still something that could have come from the factory. Just maybe a little bit brighter, a little flashier, a little curvier. But yeah, it's kind of a blend. But I do like incorporating the logos of the brands that we're putting in. I don't like hiding the fact that those are there, but I like to do it in a tasteful manner that isn't, you know.
Yeah, like concept car style. I totally get it. Totally get it. All right, Roop, how about you? What are the cues from the vehicle that you take to you know, put that blend, that Ink Rides blend into the whole mix?
Well, you gotta look through the car, see what sort of materials they're using. If they're using leather, Alcantara, the carbon, whatever colors of plastic, or what they got wrapped on door panels, the print that they're using, and incorporate that into your builds.
I mean, that's got to be something that the customer absolutely appreciates, though, with the final product when you've taken the time to match that stuff.
The same thing Dewey's saying, you got to make it look like it's factory, and you want to hide it, but we're doing it a little bit more showy, but you still want to make it look like, you know what, when I ordered my Lamborghini, I asked them for a custom subwoofer box, and this is what it would look like.
Okay, right, gotcha.
So, you want someone to look and be like, oh, did you get that factory? No, that was installed by Ink Rides. Right? So they'll have
you mentioned fabrics, Roop. What about down to like the stitching? Is that something down to that detail?
Oh yeah, we'll match the color of the stitching to whatever the factory stitch is, and the width of the stitch, what sort of stitch they're using, right down to the last detail.
Okay. I mean, we're gonna Dewey on this. Dewey, like king of OEM hideaway here. Like, what cues are you taking? I mean, obviously you're trying to match it to the best of your potential.
Nothing, you know, blends better than what's already there, right? So whatever's there, like let's say it's, you know, like a leather hide with like a double stitch with the color, you know, threading, right? We match it. Or let's say a, you know, suede insert, you know, with holes punch out of them, we match that. But if I had to create a spot, like let's say a center channel, and I have to do a press grill, I would probably have to do the grills beside it also, just because they're not going to be identical. I can get close, but they're not the same. So, and all the grills we do are press. We don't do any other grills.
You don't do like screw on top, surface mount. Everything is pressure fit.
Every single grill has to be pressed because it just looks so much better.
What kind of materials are you using for those grills, Dewey?
We get a mix from Brian, and we also have like this, our favorite one. I don't know where we got it from, but my favorite one is, it's just like a tight mesh that's really OEM looking. So when you press it and then you put it underneath, it almost looked like, you know, like the other grills there, but it's not quite. So we normally do all the grills.
It's amazing how much the grills are such an important part to finishing that OEM look. And I see what you're saying. Even if you're doing a center,
it's not going
to have to match them all.
Yeah.
Right. Do you go so far to even changing like doors or pillars, like everything if you had to?
Anything nearby that you can see, you can compare to.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
If the colors don't match too on the trims, we also send it out and have it color match.
All right. Sean, you're no stranger to this department. Love to hear the 613 style of design cues. Like, what are you looking for? Boat, car, whatever the vehicle is. What is your process?
Well, it depends on what we're working on, right? Because we do such a wide variety, like Dewey was saying. If we're doing like building a complete dash and let's say like a Sea Ray or something like that, you can never get the hydro dipping to match. So we'll get everything out. We'll scan it and then we'll hydro dip it and have everything stenciled after. Inside cars, where we're normally doing full build interiors. So one of the things is the interior has to be timeless because I don't know who here remembers the Fast and Furious years and all the horrible things we did to people's cars.
Yeah.
Yellow,
we were there.
yellow.
We were there. We did it through the night, Sean. We did it through the night.
Yeah, and all the sanding and fiberglass. But that was really a great lesson for our industry on what not to do because in every aspect of it, like we didn't make much money on that stuff, and it was messy and it just looked horrible. Like it was really, if you look at things that have been like really kind of trendy, whether it's like spinners or plastic dipping your car kind of thing, and now we're old kind of, you're like, oh no, stay away. But everything we build has to be timeless, not really what's really hot right now kind of thing. And if you look what's really timeless, really nice leather, really, really nice stitching, really subtle contours, nothing that really sticks out in your face too much. Little bit of light, maybe for like dome lights and stuff, maybe some small accents or lasered on switches kind of thing. Or like, but nothing like anything more than that. Something that's going to look good in 20 years.
Oh, timeless design. I like that a lot. Marty, I'm going to end with you. What are you taking for as far as cues go from an interior to inspire your designs? Marty, you with us? Oh, are you on mute? Make sure you're not on the mute button. All right. Well, here's something I have to say about the design. I remember seeing, Matt,
just the same as most of you guys. We look at the materials that are used in the vehicle. Hear me?
Yep, go ahead. Yep, no, we got you.
Nope.
Yep, we got you, Marty. Go ahead. I think Marty has a little bit of a delay. Let's see if we can catch up here. Well, hopefully you can hear me. I wanted to just comment on what Sean just said there. We can hear you, Marty. Do you have a little bit of a delay?
So we mainly just, okay. Same as you look at the materials in the cars and the accenting. Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
How about now? You hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The materials in the vehicle and the colors and the lighting that's in the vehicle, stuff that we do is all hidden bundles, so we don't highlight a lot of stuff.
Okay. The point I wanted to make was just a comment on Sean's comment about being timeless and classic. I've been watching, you guys might know Matt Schaefer. He's kind of known in the fabrication world. And, he's been taking these classic cars and just putting such an OEM look to it as if the interior was designed in 2022, but yet somehow it completely matches the vehicle with the materials. He uses aluminum and just a slight bit of lighting kind of modernize it. And I feel like that is exactly what you're talking about, Sean. So when it comes to design cues, whether you're trying to match it 100%, like what Roop and what Dewey's doing, or you're trying to give it that extra little flair, like what Bryce is doing, I got to go with Sean. I mean, that timeless design, I think, will go a long way and keep it timeless and have customers coming back, because who doesn't like timeless, right? Let's go and get to know Dewey. We're on to our last question. I want to get to know you here, Dewey, a little bit. Getting the bass. We're talking about bass now. Getting the bass right in any mobile audio system is critical to make it real, for realism. What process do you use to design subwoofer enclosures? Do you pick the enclosure for the space that you have to put it in, or do you create the space for the driver?
We build it to manufacturer specs, but usually limited by the vehicle, what we want to put in. But proper enclosure size is super important. Like most of us know that, one single ported, woofer will outperform 4 subs in a box that's too small, right? And not to mention that you try to tune the system and then you're trying to match the mid bass up front and you have this huge peaks at the crossover point. So most of our enclosures are usually built, vented, and the size of the woofer usually depends on how much room we have by the time we build the actual enclosure, and then we decide, like where to put the port and all that stuff after all of that. We just have to calculate what we have for space. So, and all of our boxes are usually mounted with aluminum brackets, so solid to the vehicle, and that also helps with the performance.
Very good. Interesting. Your installations are quite artistic, similar to Sean's, very creative sometimes like, whoa, what's that all about? Can you tell us a little bit about your design process and maybe speak to us about 1 or 2 examples of what I'm talking to?
Well, I have a personal design concept file in CorelDRAW where like every time I see something that pops, like a new car, like a nice trim that pops, I would draw it in there for future use. It's something that I really like and that catches my eye. Or like even when I'm watching movies with my kids, like I would see some shape like in a certain movie. I'm like, oh, I really like that shape. I would draw it into my folder in my file. So so when I do come and build something and then I pick a couple of those designs, like, and and put it all together, it can get pretty wild. But apparently all the designs, like I just looked in there just today, all the designs I have in there are weird and wild and funky shapes.
Can you think of one that you've actually brought to fruition?
Well, the Angry box, and then also my Focal box. My Focal box with the designs curved up the back. That's all.
How did it sound?
It actually sounds pretty good. That's just a cover. That's just a cover. Like the box is underneath is downfiring, so that it drops on top of the box. It locks into the box.
All right. Very, very cool. We're on our final question, gentlemen, and it's an interesting one. We'll start with you, Dewey. When building systems, do you configure and calibrate systems yourself, or do you prefer to focus exclusively on the fabrication portion of it?
After all the fab work and the system's fully installed, I normally do the inputs and outputs and channel identification, polarity check, set the crossovers, set the time alignment, set the gain settings, and then Chris or Larry would hop in there and do the tune on it, just because they're like wizards at tuning. Like they can do it way better than me and faster, so they do the tuning. But after today's production meeting, sounds like I'll be doing that too.
News to you.
Because they want to free up time, because they're going to focus on distribution. They're way too busy. They got way too much on the go.
All right, interesting. How about you, Sean? When it comes to the system build overall, are you focusing only on the fab, or do you also follow through and do the configuration and calibration?
For like 10 years, I was doing pretty much everything. And it just, when I was doing a lot of tuning, I was probably taking a lot longer. And I have a guy that's been hanging around, and since the Dashworks days, that's how long he's been hanging around. So that was 25 years ago, and he's only really been into tuning. He's like, hey, you want me to tune your car? I'm like, well, how good are you? And he tuned a car. I'm like, oh, okay, you're going to tune our cars now. So yeah, he comes in, tunes them, and he does them all in a few hours, and they sound incredible, like beyond incredible. So yeah, it's one less thing for me to do, which is great.
So you can do more sewing, and you have a guy to do the tuning.
Yeah, well, no, we have Lisa here that's doing the sewing and stuff like that.
Oh wow, okay.
We have a lot of people here doing different stuff. I've also got a guy that does all of our CAD stuff too, that comes in and helps out a lot. So because when we're at the marina kind of thing, a lot of times like I'll do a 24-hour shift, do the fab stuff, and then install it kind of thing, and then I'll have everything set up for the next day while I'm sleeping. Let's say at like from 6 until like noon or something like that. Coming in to take care of everything, like a little bit of the fab stuff, a lot of the sewing, that kind of thing. When that's when Aaron will come in and he'll be doing the tuning kind of thing. So
Cool.
everybody's
So you
kind
have
of
a
working
system.
around my schedule.
All
Yeah.
right. So at your shop, you're taking care of fab. You've got a tuning guy. Got it.
Mhm.
How about you, Marty? From your end of things, are you more focused on the fab side, or do you dabble into the calibration? What's the scenario there?
Well, I'm the only tech at my shop, so I'm doing it all. I'll do right from the build right to the tuning in the end. But if I was given a choice, it'd be fabrication all day long.
Now, is it something that takes up a lot of your time because are you less passionate about the tuning side of things, but you're doing because you have to, or is it something that you do actually enjoy?
No, I do. It's just I've always my passion for all of this has always been fabrication.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Nothing wrong with that. Last but not least, oh no, I got two more. Let's go to Bryce. Bryce, same question, obviously. Fab, tune, both. What's the scenario at Last Resort?
Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to DSP, and we do a lot of active systems, but I very much am an analog installer. I rely on good placement and proper enclosures for all the mids. Like 2 of the 3 vehicles that we're working on this month have ported mid-range and ported 3-inch enclosures. So we're not relying on just mounting a speaker on a plastic panel and hoping it sounds good, and then hoping the DSP fixes some of the problems. So we're meat and potatoes, try to get that speaker in a really good spot that sounds good and is mounted properly with good materials, and then just tidy it up a little bit with the DSP. But I prefer as little time alignment as possible. I like a good image. It's a mechanical image, not a digital image. So
Yep, very good, very good. Roop, over at Ink Rides, what are you part of? Do you have a tuning guy, or is that all you, man?
My guys will do the basic tune, so all the level matching, the time alignment. Then I'll get in there and fine tune it at the end of the job. But I'd rather do the fab all day long.
I'm starting to see the trend here. Like fab guys kind of like to stick to the fab side of things and kind of wish that there was a tuning guy. Well, some of us realized that, like Sean, he managed how to do that. Dewey just realized that that's not going to be the case as of very shortly. But anyhow, listen, I think we did a real round of different types of questions, got to know you guys, as individual fabricators and styles. I just want to reiterate, you guys are all at the top of your game. You've done this for a long time. You have your clientele, your style, and reputation. And I just really want to say on behalf of all of us here that we appreciate you coming to the table tonight and discussing and sharing with us details of your own careers and workspaces. But it's just to show that there is not one single way that is the right way. There's many different ways. And really, being a fabricator is about being unique, having style, and being creative. Okay, I think we can all agree on that part. So on that note, Marty, I want to say thank you for coming tonight. Bryce, Roop, Dewey, Sean, thank you so much this evening, and thank you for the input, and we really look forward to having you on again. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Hey, Ben.
All right, so that was another roundtable. Man, I love having all these guys on. It's super interesting. Sometimes I get shops, we talk about the business side of things. Sometimes we talk about products. Tonight was about being a fabricator and the types of things that they're focused on, and what makes them unique, each and every one of them in their own space, in their own shop, in their own way. Make sure to tune in to the very next roundtable. I love this format. We do it once a month, and it's scheduled for August 3rd. We're going to have some top dealers, and we're going to be talking about all things DSP. That's right, DSP. Why DSP? Well, because we're getting into the DSP sessions. August 3rd, that's when we're talking about on the next roundtable. As far as DSP goes, man, that's the next session that we're heading into in the month of July. We're going right through until July 28th. That's what DSP is going to be. Make sure you stay connected to CMA. Look at all those brands, man. Like every DSP brand you can think of, we got them here on CMA Networks, and we're going one-on-one with them each and every day until July 28th. Lastly, make sure you check out our website, CMA Networks. If you like this video and every other video that we do, you can find it there at cmanetworks.com. Search for your favorite videos by brand, by category, or even by your favorite trainer. Hundreds of videos to choose from. That's it from CMA Networks. This show is the Roundtable, presented by SiriusXM and powered also by 5-Axis Innovations. We didn't get Jody on tonight, but we'll definitely have him on the next one so we can get a little bit of his wisdom on here as well. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, it's time about today where I'm gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?